In this video, boys, we are going to be breaking down exactly how our client Lewis went from being a burnt out digital nomad tax accountant, working 16 hours a day. Yes, you heard that right, 16 hours a day, undercharging himself, to now doing 10K months in just 60 days of joining the core network. Before I even start yapping, boys, and so you don't think I'm another online guru scammer, I'm actually going to go and put a video of Lewis talking about his experience in the core right here, right now. Then we're going to get straight into it, the full rundown on how he scaled into 10K per month, so you can implement the same systems in your business. Let's go, boys.
Hi everyone, so my name is Lewis. I'm a chartered accountant and an international tax specialist. I'm currently living in Vietnam. I booked a one-way flight to Southeast Asia around about a year ago now. I left my 9 to 5. I was a chartered accountant in the UK for a really well-respected accountancy firm, really high up. I worked my way up to associate manager level in that firm. Like many others, I just had enough, booked a one-way flight to Southeast Asia with no real plan other than I knew that I wanted to sort of run my own accountancy firm specializing in overseas taxation. So before joining the core, I'll answer this in two parts. So business wise, I was making around £2,000 to £3,000 a month before joining the core. I was working ridiculously long hours, sort of give myself a second job really. I'd left my 9 to 5 and I was sort of just taking on any bit of work that I could get. I was almost working like 16 to 18 hour days, that's not even a lie, but just living in Bangkok, I was pretty much just locked in my condo all day, just working for £2,000 or £3,000 a month, which at the time, I thought it was amazing, but that slowly wore off and did sort of impact me, I'll be honest. I was living the so-called dream, or something that I've always, looked forward to doing, and that been on my it's been something I want to do for a while. But, when I was working 16 hours a day locked up in my condo in Bangkok, I know obviously I'm living in Bangkok, but I may as well have still been in the UK. I wasn't really doing any of the cool things moved to Bangkok for, or just having freedom really, essentially give myself a second job, which was okay for the first couple of months because it was nice to have that stability and income that allowed me to settle in Bangkok, but long term it just wasn't something that I could see myself. But there's no way to live, I may as well be in the UK. Personal wise, I would say when I just moved out to Thailand, me and Thai, we worked together on something else, and I was in a good headspace then, and then sort of we parted ways, whatever, and we caught up back in Pattaya with Thai. I caught up with Thai and Abhishek. So it wasn't really in a good place. And I remember I met with Thai in Bangkok. We were just speaking, and I was just honest with him, I just wasn't happy. At that time, I put on a bit of weight, so I'd sort of let myself go from stress, from just working all the time, and I was sort of just eating, comfort eating, to try and distract myself away from the actual problem. And I think the turning point for me really was when, there's 2 points really. First of all, I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, this is, compared to when I first moved out to Thailand, I was looking a lot happier, a lot slimmer, just my mindset was a lot better. And then, finally working all these long hours with demanding, low-paying clients, just finally caught up on me. And I remember, I met with Thai, and my girlfriend also looked at me and just said, look, you look sad. And it was at that point I thought something needs to change. I was sort of living in Thailand, supposedly living the dream on paper, something I'd worked so long and hard to get to, leaving such a well-paying and high respected job in the UK wasn't an easy decision. But then just to sort of not be enjoying myself, not enjoying life, and not really enjoying what Thailand has to offer. That's probably where I was mentally. Okay, so where am I at right now? So I've been in the core, I would say, for probably 2 months, maybe a little bit longer. When I joined the core, I was probably on around 2 or 3K a month, monthly recurring revenue. Lots of clients, low paying, annoying, just hard to deal with hassle clients. And right now, I'm sitting at 10K months quite comfortably. It does sound like a lot of money. And to me, when I was still living in the UK, when you see people who are saying, I work online and make 10K a month, I always used to think, yeah, okay, that's never happening. But since being in the core, my income is at 10K months. It's only going to increase. And just being around people who are all on the same page, and like most of the guys in the core are doing 10K months like it's nothing. So it's not a lot of money when you actually know how to do it, what you need to do, what you need to focus on. I guess when you just really know how to run a business and how to leverage your time and skills, 10K a month is so achievable. In terms of networking, the core has given me a great network of like-minded people. I know it's cliche to say, but everyone in that network is genuinely killing it in their own different areas. and it just pushes you so much more being around people who are doing 10, 20, 30, 40k months like it's nothing.
Okay, boys, so let's get into it right now. So I'm just gonna let you guys know, throughout this video, you're gonna think I'm talking about a fitness transformation or some shit, because honestly, Lewis came to us in a pretty bad place. And we're gonna get into this in a minute as well, but just FYI, we haven't really helped him with his fitness, but as you can see, he's a lot leaner now, right? I'm gonna show you some more in a second as well. He's a lot leaner now, and he's in a much better place mentally as well. So it's a lot deeper than just a financial transformation he's had in terms of the monetary value, doing 10k months. We changed his whole fucking life. And I can say that with my absolute chest, right? We changed his whole life, and he can vouch for that as well. When Lewis came to us, he was in the mind frame of, I'll figure out alone. 16-hour days, barely scraping 3k per month. Like, he was doing that for some time. I think 5 months on end, he was actually doing 3k per month consistently for working with a load of clients that were paying him low ticket bullshit prices, right? So he was in the mind frame of figure out alone, having a bit of ego, as men do. It's absolutely fine, but as we know, if you want to get ahead in life, you have to swallow your ego, you have to swallow your pride, right? And Lewis finally came to terms with that, right? So he even said to us, right, his girlfriend literally looked at him. They went out for dinner. He said his girlfriend looked at him, right? Imagine this, and said to him, "You look sad, Lewis." And I think for any man, that's really going to touch your chest. And we're going to get onto the reasons why, you know, that was actually the case in the first place. But I'm a big believer that, look, everyone has a turning point in their life when they're just sick to death of their own shit. And I guess that was Lewis's turning point, because that must not have been a nice feeling, right? Nobody wants to hear that. Backstory. Why was Lewis actually stuck? I've got a video over here of hamsters in a hamster wheel, right? Going round and round in circles. That's what a lot of business owners do that have an offer, right? You go round and round in circles, doing the same shit over and over again, leads you nowhere, right? Just being stubborn and doing the same shit over and over again. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting new results, and that's exactly what Lewis was doing. So he was in a cycle of chaos, overwhelm, and burnout. Like I said, 2 to 3k per month for 5 months. 5 months. He was trapped in a cycle of fulfillment. All he was doing was fulfilling his clients. And look, this is a problem that most online coaches face, right? The clients that pay you low ticket, he was doing about 50 to 75 pounds per month for his digital nomad tax accounting services. He's literally helping entrepreneurs save the money, a shit ton of money, right? And he was charging them 50 to 75 pounds a month. And guess what happens with those clients? The clients that pay you low ticket prices are the biggest pain to work with. That is just the facts of it. They are the biggest pain to work with, right? They're the ones that are going to have the most demands from you, that aren't going to put in the work on their end, right? And they're just an absolute pain to work with. They're always the ones that are demanding the most. All of that led to him literally working 16-hour days, just trapped in fulfillment. No time for marketing, no time for brushing up in his sales, things that actually grow the business, trapped in a cycle of fulfillment. And that's what most coaches and service-based business providers actually do. They build themselves into a life that they absolutely despise, a second job. I knew when I stepped into this space, I was in the same space as Lewis, but I needed to get out of that. And Lewis came to the same realization as well. Why leave your job? Why even leave the UK? You know, why step into this online space if you're going to build yourself into a second job, bro? It doesn't make any sense. He also had no niche and no pricing clarity as well. So he didn't really know who he was targeting. He was just targeting like anyone and everyone. We really managed to niche down and really fix his pricing as well. Going from low ticket to charging super high ticket what he actually deserves. Before we actually get into the actual framework that we use, right? Our 4-step blueprint that we use inside the course for all of our members, right? That want to scale to 10k per month. I want to just go through like what was the real turning point. As you can see, right? Like Lewis, like, of course he wasn't fat, but like he'd let go of himself a little bit. And this is the result after joining the core after 2 months. Again, you think this is a fitness transformation? I'm showcasing you right now. But it just goes to show you that I'm smiling. I've got a smile on my face right now because this guy has changed so much. He's had a whole paradigm shift. His whole identity, the way he approaches business, life in general, has changed completely, right? I'm not just saying that, like I genuinely mean it. He comes on these calls now and he's got so much energy, you know, and I love it. I love to see it, man. So for Lewis, he told me like obviously the thing that his girlfriend said obviously was a big turning point as well. Like, you look sad. No man wants to hear that. But he looked at the mirror himself and he hated the reflection he was seeing. He gained a lot of weight. His identity was shifting. He wasn't proud of the man that he was becoming. And that's when he finally decided to take action. But believe me, like, even though Lewis was sad at first, he threw us every single fucking objection. We actually met Lewis in person. It wasn't even a call. I'm chatting shit over here. We had a meet up with Lewis, me and Ty. We met him in person. We kind of soft pitched him on the court, I guess you could say. And he was initially quite hesitant to join. He was in a mind frame of, look, I can do it alone. I'll try my own a bit longer. And then eventually he realized he needed help. Because like I said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting new results. If you are trapped in fulfillment doing 16 hours days and you're not doing anything actively to change that, how are you ever gonna have a better reality for yourself. It's just simple as that. Insanity is doing the same shit over and over again, expecting new results. He knew he needed to change. He came to us. He was in a bad place, mentally, financially, and everything. And we managed to change that for him, right? So first thing we actually had to do with Lewis, right, was diagnose what the real problem was. Now, like I said, he had no clear ICP. When you're running an offer, right, you need to know exactly who your dream client is like the back of your hand. You need to do market research on them. You need to understand who your ICP is like the back of your hand. So that determines all of your marketing, right? All of your marketing is speaking to that one specific person, right? Especially with the middle of funnel content. So middle of funnel content, just to explain, is where we nurture our audience. We actually give value and we attack the pain points of their niche. Like you'll see some of Lewis's content. I'm even going to show you an example in a second, right, of some of Lewis's content. And he really hits the pain points of his niche. You know, he really targets these nomads that have no idea what they're doing with their taxes. So we managed to dial that in fully. Undercharging, massively undercharging. Again, I don't need to keep talking about this, but low ticket is honestly one of my biggest pet peeves. Like low ticket is literally one of my biggest pet peeves in this online space, right? Why would you charge low ticket? If you don't have a massive audience, and if you have an offer like Lewis where you're actually changing people's lives, helping them save a shit ton of money so they can go reinvest into their business, help their families, X, Y, Z, right? Why are you undercharging and charging low ticket? Third thing was he had no sales process as well. He had no setter on his account. We managed to set. He had no sales process as well. So he didn't really know how to take sales calls properly. Okay, cool. Lewis's offer is a lot more based on logic than it is, you know, actually emotions, because it's a B2B offer, just like how ours is. But at the same time, he didn't really know how to run a B2B sales call properly. So we taught him sales psychology, how to actually pitch. We even placed a setter on his offer as well, which I'll get onto a bit more now. So let's dive into the actual framework that we use. It was a 4-step framework that we actually used to help Lewis, right? So number one, define his ICP. Like I said, he had no ICP before, but we actually defined his ICP. So we targeted digital nomads that are looking to move abroad, because Lewis does the exact same thing. So like I always say to people, like if you've solved the problem in your own life, just help other people do the same shit. When I was overweight and I was working a corporate job, I managed to overcome that hurdle in my life. That's exactly why I helped the exact same person that was a few steps behind me solve the same problem. So we had to ask Lewis, like, who do you love serving and who needs this now? Because the truth is, if you launch an offer, when it comes to your ICP, finding the right ICP, you need to know that, okay, I actually want to genuinely help this person. I'm not just doing it for money. Like I actually want to help this person for a deeper reason as well. And you know, Lewis was very adamant that digital nomads was the people that he wanted to target. So we doubled down with that. Tailored all of his marketing towards that, and he was flying from there. Step number 2, package and price his offer. Look, the easiest way to scale, right? The easiest way to scale high ticket is just by charging more. It's as simple as that. I'm not gonna give you no wishy-washy shit, right? Just to charge higher prices. Imagine £75 per month. He would have needed like a fucking 150 clients or some bullshit. 150 clients to get to 10K per month. What the actual fuck is that? What is that? How are you meant to scale when you're charging £75 per month? But such a good offer as well. Like I'd pay big money for this. I have an accountant who helps me do the exact same thing, pays 0% tax. And I pay him a lot of money as well. So it doesn't make any sense. So all he would need really now is 4 closes. We are shooting for the stars now. He's done 10K easy. If he gets 4 pips in a month, that's 20K. 10, that's 50K. And he's gonna be there very, very soon because he's got the grit, the determination, the hunger, and he listens to everything that we say, so I know he's gonna be there. So we increase his prices. We actually built his offer as well, like revise his offer. How can we actually, you know, add more value to it as well, make it irresistible. Bundle the high value premium tax support offer. Step number 3, we built sales systems as well. Actually, before I even move on, one of the first things we actually did as well, Lewis even explained this, is we actually removed his low caliber clients. I told Lewis this initially, like, get rid of your low ticket clients, do it. He was scared, he didn't listen to me for 1 month. After 1 month, he actually listened to me, he got rid of them, and he felt so at ease. He's literally in there in the wins channel. He's in the wins channel, right, like swimwear. He's in there, and he's telling everyone, I got a win today. Non-financial win, but I got rid of my low caliber clients. And when you start valuing yourself, when you think with that abundant mindset, like, I don't need these low ticket clients, that's when the money starts to flow. So a little gem for you as well, right? You got rid of all of those clients. Step number 3 was we built a sales system. So we actually internally hired a setter for Lewis, and we do this for most of our coaches and service-based business providers inside the core as well. We actually hire setters and train them internally. So we have a designated sales coach that does that, and we help out as well. We packed out his calendar. We gave him the right sales script as well for the B2B offer that he's selling, and we gave him the right system to scale without being burnt out, right? He spends a lot of his times now just marketing and doing sales calls, no longer trapped in fulfillment, because he's not working with low caliber clients anymore that are not paying him what he's worth. He has a few clients which he likes working with. Step number 4 is we installed boundaries and scaled delivery. So again, showing him how to set clear boundaries with his clients. This is one of the biggest mistakes most offer owners make. You don't know how to set boundaries with your clients. You have a scarce mindset. You don't know how to set boundaries with your clients, and that's why they're pinging off your line every other minute, right? And it's the truth of it. You begin to resent what you do, and that's exactly what happened to Lewis. That's why he was burnt out. That's why he got overweight, because he was burnt out from fulfillment. And you never want to be in that position. You might as well just go and fucking work a job at that point, right? So we reduced his hours, aligned his client base, reduced some of his clients, right? And we made sure he's working on the business, not just in it as well. Too many coaches are always trapped in the fulfillment, working in the business all the time, and you wonder why you don't fucking scale, bro. Because what are you doing to actually scale? It didn't make any sense. Results in 60 days. As you can see over here, the numbers don't lie, right? Some of his shitty old low-ticket clients are still there, just lurking cool, but he's got all of these payments: 3K, 1K, 3K, 2K. He would have dreamed of this before. He never even knew it was possible of doing this. As you can see, in May, 10K cash collected. June target this month, we're on track to do this, right? 20K cash collected. Internal setter over here, 1K cash collected, 4K to be paid by the end of the month. Looking like an absolute fucking G, smoking cigars on a yacht. What a guy. Shout out Lewis every single time. I rate this guy, man. He's hit 10K months in under just 2 months of working with us inside the call. No more 16-hour days anymore, and no more working a second job, being a fucking freelancer. He came to us for this exact result. He wanted to hit 10K a month, you know, he didn't want to be burnt out anymore from doing fulfillment, and he didn't want to feel like he was trapped into a second job anymore, and that's exactly what we did. The numbers do not lie, right? The deeper ones though, like I said, it's all good and well talking about the monetary benefits that he's had and whatnot, but he's lost a lot of weight as well. His self-image is back on point. He's become shredded wheat. The guy's fucking diced, bro. Looks like a G. Business no longer runs him. He runs the business. I don't have anything else to say. He is now on top of shit. He's no longer a slave to his clients, bro. And that's what a lot of you offer owners actually are. You're just a slave to your clients, bro. You might as well just work a job type shit. Anyways, all of this works, right? In the month of May, me and Ty were able to cash collect 30,000. Everything we learn, we teach our clients. We're on route to doing 100K per month. No doubt. I'm already there mentally anyways. I'm already there. Money's abundant, bro. 30K per month. We done that in May, right? Luke, fitness coach, made 12K in 6 weeks. Leo, 20K in 30 days. Just being surrounded by all of us when we done our mastermind. Started the week off strong. 8.2K revenue for the week. Boom. Ryan, growth operator, 2.7K. John, 1.5K PIF, 1.5K PIF. Easy. Listen, all of this works. That's what you have to understand, right? All of this works. It's about whether you want to swallow your ego, swallow your pride, and learn from somebody else ahead of you, right? And if you do, feel free to book in a call with me down below, right? I'm going to leave the link inside the description of this video, and we'll see if you'd be a good fit for the program, and if we can help you scale, just like how Lewis did. If you are just feeling like a freelancer right now, burnt out, and you want to scale to 10K months, I'm more than happy to help you, mate. So book in a call below, and we'll see if you're a good fit.